everybody. Thanks for tuning in today to the Positive Impact Project. This is Ingrid Karazinger, and I'm here today with Ed Vela, and we are going to interview him today about his work as an actor and a playwright, spelled I-G-H-T, and learn a little bit more about him. So thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, the Positive Impact Project is about those who have that creative flow, that work for either service of humanity, that work to create their art into the world. And it's not about being a millionaire, it's about just doing what you love. And these are the people that are inspiring to everybody. And it's kind of giving permission to those people who aren't doing that. Hey, you know what? I'm doing it, you can do it too. And we really need more of that inspiration in the media, I think. So thank you for being on.
I do all that? I'm amazed and shocked.
He didn't even know. He's going to learn a lot today. I'm going to tell him so much.
Yep.
So welcome.
I almost said Mildred. Ingrid, thank you for having me. Or what was
Okay.
saying, Mildred? Ingrid, thank you for having me on today. I've never done Facebook Live, so I can do my Bullwinkle impression. Hey, Rocky! Okay, no, actually, she said I was an artist and a playwright, spelled it any way you want. If you want to spell it R-I-T-E, it's fine with me. And that is kind of what I do. And it's kind of like, here we are, this is what we do at General Motors. What I do basically is, here in this city, I've been back here since 2014. I was in LA for a while. Interesting city if you're a drug addict. Anyway, no, and I love the fact that it's called PIP, because to me, PIP meant picture in picture. You know, on those big TVs, you have the little screen, so you can keep track of one game while you're watching another game.
We're looking at the microcosm of the big picture.
Now it's something, now I mean, they either meant that or some character in Dickens. Now it means something totally different to me. And for me, for people that know me, for me to be on the positive image anything, positivity and me have had a tenuous relationship. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is I'm working at Univision, which is the #1 Spanish language TV station in the network in the country, and our station here locally, which is KXLN. I believe channel 10 on your cable, channel 45 if you're one of those poor people that still have an antenna. But that's what I do to make my daily bread. But what I really do, Ingrid, and what's interesting, I think, to you, might actually be to your people to watch, is I actually do a web series on YouTube, and I've been doing that since 2012, and I do short films. And one of my short films, this interesting one we shot in my bathroom, which I'll tell you the plot of that if you want to. But anyway, you probably don't want to.
You know what the plot is.
Anyway, that one, interesting. So
it must have been medieval, and it was about a throne.
That's it. It was called Game of Thrones Part 2. No, actually, what was that one called? Oh, that one. Okay. She said no holds barred, so I'm gonna not hold any bars. This thing was because of a conversation I had with one of my teen actors once that involved something that I thought was rather weird. You tell me if you think it's rather weird. The practice that young men have now of shall we say, grooming themselves in an area that my generation would never groom, and shaving down areas that I would never shave down. Anyway, that's something that these young people do now, and it's universal. Anybody of a certain age does that. And they say the girlfriends like it better that way. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so that was the gist of the film was about that, about the fact that I, being a middle-aged man, would be going, what? And this teenage guy doing, and the idea was the father catches the son manscaping in the bathroom, and he's like, and the conversation that ensues. And actually, this movie actually won a couple of awards from some very sick film contests out there that watched it and said, we love this. And it was called Pubic Enemy #1. I'm sorry, #2.
No. Oh, gosh.
Because, that's what you do in the bathroom.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Now we know there's some great stuff to go watch.
Yeah, right. No, don't watch that one. Anyway, no, but...
Is that on YouTube?
No, not yet. Okay. That's still doing the lovely film circuit, the film contest circuit where they go, oh my Lord. But
all right, so we have to anticipate that one. Okay.
With great anticipation.
So,
anyway, but the web series. The web series is one of the things, and the reason I do the web series, and I'm looking at, instead I'm talking to you, I'm looking over...
You can do both.
Okay, hold on. Okay. The reason I started doing the web series, back when I lived in California, I was bereft of anything creative to do because I was known as the old man of the sea. I'd go to these pitch sessions with all these executives that were young enough to be my son or daughter, and they'd look at me like, you think you can write contemporary stuff? What are you, 50? I'm like, yes. No. And it would be like, putting a cross in front of Dracula, and they would back away and they'd hate me. Anyway, so to keep my creative juices flowing, to make me feel like I was doing something creative, I hooked up with this young man that I met in another project. They really wanted real material. And I said, you know, I'm going to do something autobiographical. So the original concept of Dad versus Lad was kind of my involvement in my marriage with my stepson and the rather adversarial relationship that happens between stepfather and teenage stepson, or right around the tween 12, 13-year-old stepson. And that was the original concept. It was very good, very funny, because it was like a one-upsmanship kind of thing, and it was fun to watch me dying and him, you know, getting away with murder. And then that young man left the show because he wanted to quit acting. I rearranged it and brought in my character, Herb, his natural sons that he'd kind of been estranged from for a while. And that happened in the 3rd season. By the 4th season, I got rid of them because I couldn't stand the actors I cast. I'm sorry. I love actors usually. These two, we didn't have a good, what is it, chemistry, rapport, whatever it was we were supposed to have, we didn't have it.
Well, that's important.
So after the 3rd season, I kind of started getting rid of him. And then by the 4th season, I brought in another character, which was now my character's illegitimate son. So when I left after the 4th season, I left LA to come back to Houston for this marvelous job I have. And it is marvelous, trust me. I love my job, thank you. I give thanks to the universe for this lovely job. But I had nothing creative to do. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something I didn't do in LA, which is recast. So those original characters I brought in season 3, I recast them with 2 really fabulous actors that I got here in Houston. Benjamin Wadsworth, who's now doing a TNT pilot. He's doing all these wonderful things, and I'm going, Ben, you've arrived. So in 2014, he was, you know, just a young actor, I think 15 at the time. And I said, you're going to play my son. He goes, hey, okay. And he looks at me and goes, I don't think I can. How can I, you know, because I'm kind of good looking. And I'm like, thanks a lot, Ben. Anyway, but he was a nice guy. And he did this for me. And his uncle actually shoots the show for me and edits the show. So he's my techie. And then I brought in this other kid that was like 9 years old at the time when he started the show. And really was very raw, let's say. He has evolved. I'm so proud of this kid. His name is Kanan Estes. And Kanan has evolved so much during the course of the show with his timing and his naturalness and his ability that you sit back and you look at Kanan in the 1st season where he's a cute kid, and Kanan like coming into season 8, we just wrapped shooting on season 8. We'll be posting it soon on YouTube. Watch it.
Dad versus Lad.
Dad versus Lad on YouTube. Yeah, and my channel is called Incredible Edible Ed. Now I will explain that if she wants me to.
So let's go back to the beginning. Little Ed. let's.
I feel like Little Ed right now.
How did you get into all this? What brought you into that area of work?
Well, I think anybody who's an actor, a performer, and I never consider myself an actor. I consider myself a performer because insofar as Stanislavski, I'm not.
And a writer.
Yeah, well, and again, the writing. The only thing the acting helps with the writing is I can kind of, as I'm writing, I can act it out and see, okay, well, an actor like this, what can an actor do with this? I kind of act it out to see what the potential is once it comes, because it always should be, and as a playwright, I can tell you this, it should be better on the stage than on the page. If it doesn't go from the page to the stage and improve, you don't have something went wrong between the page and the stage. If it's hysterically funny when you read it, but when you see it on stage, it's like something happened in there. But if it's done right, it's supposed to be enhanced by a live performance. But as an actor, I think you want to be, I think Laurence Olivier put it best when he said, it's the look at me, look at me, look at me feeling. I think even if actors are somewhat introverted, through their acting, they get to be an extrovert. They get to get people to look at them, do whatever they're doing, their character, their stand-up comedy, which is the ultimate, you know. As a narcissist, I know this. It's the ultimate feeling of being out there without a net is doing stand-up comedy. Because you're out there just being you. And,
so did you start out there?
Well, no, I did do some. But I realized stand-up comedy wasn't for me when I couldn't remember my act. I mean, it's terrible when you're doing stand-up and you have cue cards. You know, I could write for other comedians, but I didn't want to do that because then I felt I'm going to steal all my good jokes. And the other thing that I realized early on when I did do a little bit of stand-up is if I got wildly good at it, I would have to be on the road a lot because I've seen these guys and they usually do a circuit. They go from city to city to city, and we're not talking about huge cities sometimes. We're talking about Des Moines and Cincinnati and whatever. They go do this circuit like in the Ohio Valley and whatever. And I just didn't feel like that life was for me because I don't like living out of a suitcase ever. And doing that to me, I think would have been a little bit after a while, a burnout situation. So I didn't want to start it because I thought I'd really fall in love with the audience, because I always loved the audience. The one thing you don't have in Dead vs. Let's is you're not filming in front of a live audience. We're a kind of a one camera kind of film show, kind of like a movie, is we don't have a live audience. We don't know if we're funny or not until we go on YouTube and we get all these lovely hates and little comments saying, "What the hell is this? Why is it on? Who is this fat guy?" And why does he think he's funny?
And that's what they look like when they're typing.
And all of our fans are T-Rexes. They all like, and they all, Jurassic World. Anyway, I could have said Jurassic Park and I could have dated myself, but I said Jurassic World. Anyway, no, but Dead vs. Lad to me is a throwback to like an 80s comedy. It's kind of weird, but again, I go back to that again because I'm trying to plug that word. I'm plug-oling that. But to get to your idea of what an actor is, what a creative person is, I think, as a general rule, you know what I love to do, or what I used to love to do? I'd sit in food courts and just listen to people. And that's my phone going off. Okay. And I'm sorry I didn't turn it on silent.
Just go with
She's it's like, we're live, idiot. Okay. No, but she's my daughter. She's my sister. Okay. No, that for you people who don't know what Chinatown is, look it up. No, the sitting in the food court, you hear all these interesting conversations, and you hear life going on all around you, and they don't think you're listening. You're there with your book, your shill, your cover, to make it look like you're doing something else. And you're not listening to them, and you're looking. And here's the thing: you're listening to a conversation behind you where you can't see the people, and you're looking at a conversation way across the food court where you can't hear them, but you're getting a sense, a felt life from these people across the way. Just as amazing to try to ferret out what they're saying to each other, to make these movements and make these face contortions and to talk with their hands like I do. All of a sudden I've become Italian. And you see this and you're like going, wow, and you're making up your own story for them, and you're listening to the story over here, and you get so much felt life. And to me, what an actor does is he takes the life around him and he kind of sticks it in the mix master of his brain and spits it out as the most natural thing he can do in a performance. That's why the best actors are the ones that seem to have the ability to not be the character, not be themselves, but to be some kind of conglomerate of both. I love chameleon actors, but I still don't know what the hell Daniel Day-Lewis really seems like or acts like. He's not a personality. Daniel Day-Lewis is a consummate actor, and I'm going to murder this phone later. And he's the kind of actor that just blows your mind with how you never really know what he's really like, but occasionally I like the Sylvester Stallones because it's like a good Reuben sandwich in a nice kosher deli. You know you're going to get the corned beef and a little bit of the sauerkraut and some Russian dressing. You know what you're going to get with a Stallone or a personality type actor in a movie. Whereas Daniel Day-Lewis, it's whatever the character he's playing. When some people went on the set of Lincoln when he was playing Lincoln, and they said they didn't meet Daniel Day-Lewis that day, they met Lincoln. And those are just two different ideas of what an actor can do and how he does it. But for me, I think the actor that can skirt that edge of I'm myself, but I'm also this character, I'm blending the two in this perfect balance, really can get to the meat of something that we, as people watching, can go, wow, look at that. And I do a lot of this with my two dead caterpillars I call eyebrows. Anyway, I'm sorry. Ask me something else. I've exhausted that topic.
Well, okay, so we got a little bit about what you do right now and a little bit about what it is to be an actor, writer. So tell us right now, what are you doing as far as moving forward?
This is what it is to mug.
What?
I never move forward. My life is in constant reverse.
I'm trying to remember the questions. So moving forward, what do you have new projects coming up? Are you working on something right now?
Yes, I'm actually doing a nude project. I'm going to be totally naked. And new, okay. The new projects I'm working on. Every year I post a Happy New Dear picture on Facebook, which is me and with practically nothing on going Happy New Dear, and people just laugh and make jokes. Anyway, so that's okay. And I'm not even totally nude, by the way. Really, okay, I'm right now I have one short film kind of in the can. I still need to get, maybe I can get your husband to do this part. I still need to get a woman actress and a man actor to do these cutaways I need to finish the film. The crux of the film's done. I need to finish it. I just need to get people together and do it. And all the actors I know are doing projects. And a lot of them I know are stage actors and I want to do film. They think film is beneath them. And let me talk to you about my basic philosophy about that, as long as we're talking about the future. I started out in plays. I love plays. To me, the theater never died because there's nothing quite like the theater. Because no matter what happens, the people in that theater are going to see a performance that's never going to be seen exactly the same way again. You can duplicate the actors and the stage work and whatever, but when you go to Broadway, I saw Finding Neverland, and that performance of Finding Neverland was great. But the next performance the next day might have had a flub here, a difference there. You're never going to see
More
the exact same.
spontaneous,
Yes.
right?
That's what you love about the theater, the live aspect of this, where I'm sitting here picking my nose and going, here I am. The whole idea that this is live and you're trying to do your best and you're trying to remember what the hell you want to say. But there's a certain feel for something that's, 3D. There's a certain feel to something that's live. Oh, thank you, Thing. Okay. There's a certain feel about that. But what I also love about film and the web series is the permanence. Because long after I'm dead, if YouTube still exists, God knows how people are going to be getting their media in 20 years, they can still punch up Dad versus Lad and see me in my prime, well, if you call 50 your prime, and they can see me alive and with hair, which I'm losing rapidly, and just doing my bit, and I might be 20 years dead. The permanence of film, like all these films we see on Turner Classic Movies whenever they're 50 years old, most of those actors are gone. Yet we can still enjoy what they did in their art through the film medium because of its permanence. So for the same reason you love theater is the same reason you love film. I mean, a very different reason you love film, but for the same general idea. It's two very different mediums. And because of that, neither one's ever going to die. I don't think stage plays, straight stage plays, certainly musicals, are never going to pass from this earth because people are always going to enjoy that live experience. And the permanence and perfection, well, not in my case, but some people are very perfectionistic about their filmmaking, and the perfectionistic nature of film and the permanence of film is amazing too. Because Ingrid, you and I, in 30 years, may be gone to the other plane of existence, up there somewhere. Somewhere out there, just out of sight. Okay. But somebody may be desperate for entertainment and may punch up this thing going, oh, she was live in 2017. Wasn't that 57 years ago? Yeah, okay, let's look. And
unfortunately, there's some things people wish they could not have resurfaced.
Yes, I know. Like this interview.
Later on.
I'm working the caterpillars. Okay. But no, me and Eugene Levy ought to play a movie where we're brothers because we both have these.
That's where I've seen his eyebrows.
And of course, we have the same profile from hell. I always say prominent men have prominent noses, and I do have that, but I have no chin. So whenever I grow a beard, it looks like a hairy tongue at first, but then it eventually looks like a beard, and it kind of balances my face, sort of. Anyway, so that's. But again, the idea of the two different mediums is so there, and if you really think about it, it's great because to me, whenever I do write a play, I know a play is a living thing, because no matter what happens, the next director that gets it, the next production that does it, they do it in Ohio, they do it in New York, or they do it in Miami, it's going to be a whole different thing. The cast is going to change it, the director's going to change it, the set design's going to change it, the lighting design may change it to where it's a totally different thing. They may still be your words, and they may do it to the ink, word for word, but it may be totally different than what you saw here in Houston or wherever you might have seen it at first. And that's the joy of theater, and that's why writing plays is interesting, because if I go to a play of mine that's being done in Tuscaloosa, it could be a heck of a lot different with Southern accents than it was when I saw a performance of it in Phoenix, where they're all going, boy, it's hot in here. So that's what I love about the theater, and as opposed to film, and that's one of the philosophies I have of life, is permanence versus spontaneity. This is spontaneous. Oh. And Ingrid wishes it wasn't.
No, this is good stuff. This is good media here.
But for the future, I'd like to get Houston to be, because Houston is pretty much the ugly stepchild of film and media in a lot of ways for this state. Austin has always been the LA of Texas. And San Antonio is even getting more short films done and media there. And Dallas has always been that way. And Houston's kind of like, some guy said you can liken the film community in Houston to like the Jews in Nazi Germany hiding, hoveled, in a basement somewhere. They're there, but it's hard to find them. And it's hard to access them.
I don't know about that.
No, they're literally, they're kind of like underground. They don't come out and say, hey, I'm a film person in Houston. Because here, that in Houston, this is the city that has the most stages. Now we're talking about community theater stages, whatever stages. We have the most theater stages. We're only second to New York City insofar as having a lot of. This is a stage town, and that's why I started out in theater, because that was the only real creative outlet was doing theater here, insofar as my writing goes or whatever. It was also really jazzy because there are a couple of, and I'd like to plug them. Scriptwriters Houston has something called a 10 by 10, which is they show the works of 10 playwrights every year in a 10-minute play genre. And I think that's amazing because as a playwright, what do you want to see when you write for stage? You want to see your thing on stage in front of people. If it's a comedy, you want to hear if they're going to laugh. If it's a drama, you want to see if they shed a bitter tear. You want to see all that, and you can't see it if you're just rereading and reading your stuff. So that's kind of a good thing. And then I want to plug Mimi Holloway, who is the producer over at Theater Southwest, one of my home-based theaters that I adore. She does a thing called what we call the FOO, F-O-O, the Festival of Originals. She's done that every year for 20 years now. And it's a 20-minute short act play festival. And in there, she champions 5 writers, sometimes from different parts of the country, different parts of the world. And she puts their work on stage. We had a guy named Yarborough show up from New York City to come watch the play, the version of the play we did of his. And he was quite enchanted. And I thought, wow, But these are the kind of things that happen here in this town for theater that they don't do the same thing for film. I think they're a couple. I think it's growing. And I'd like to see it grow more insofar as making Houston a mecca for film as well as stage.
Well, I like that it's not pretentious yet. There's still a lot of room for us to have some fun with it before everybody comes and goes, oh, they're an amazing town to see plays. Right now, it's still easy to just have fun.
No, in the community theater world, it's all about fun because they don't pay you. But there are some, there's the Alley, of course, has a very strong theater company down there downtown. Of course, it costs you an arm and a leg to go see their productions, but that's okay because they do quality work. And then I think there's one up on the north side. There are a couple of venues that actually pay the actors, but actually put forth a really good product, and those should be frequented too. But for my money, try the little small community theaters. The Theater Southwest, they do amazing work. Let me think. Country Playhouse used to be Country Playhouse. Now it's called Queensbury Theater. They do good work, and they're ostensibly a community theater, are a cut above a community theater because they're a little bit more professional and have a lot of really a cut above talent. But they're there and they're just there for the taking, and they're doing some fine contemporary theatrical work. Go see them. But also, when you see a notice in maybe not Craigslist, but when you see a notice in I think it's Backstage Casting or some of these legit things that tell you about casting notices for films that are going on in your town, whether it be a student film or whatever. If you're an actor, there's no such thing as bad experience. If you're an actor and you love the stage, great, love the stage, worship the stage, do your stuff on the stage, but learn how to do film too. Learn the difference, learn the gear shift between stage, which is out here because you're performing to the back of the crowd, and the intimacy of film.
You have to sit really close.
Now, Ginger, I know you killed your husband, but I must tell you right now that I want you. That kind of thing. The difference in the levels you can perform at. And, I have a sitcom on YouTube. So therefore, we're about as stagey as you can get on camera because I'm going push it harder, push it. Because when you look at sitcoms, it's a little bit, you look at a nice film like any of these, deep films like, I'm trying to think of that new one that's just Manchester by the Sea or something that Casey Affleck's in. It's a kind of a Horton Foote kind of, Horton Foote's a playwright that does plays it, they're very slow paced, very naturalistic, but to me, a little boring. But in a deep, dramatic movie, you get that kind of level of acting, and that's fine. But if you're doing a Mel Brooks movie, you're not going to get that level of acting unless, it's a Mel Brooks produced movie like Elephant Man or something. But no, Mel Brooks is out there, and that's fine to be out there. That's why he's doing so well on stage now that he's doing redoing stuff like The Producers on stage. Because again, it was always kind of for the stage because it was always so big anyway. And on stage you can be bigger than life, such as I am. Anyway, but insofar as the future goes for this city, I'd like it to be more inclusive insofar as film, TV, and theater, because I think it can be everything. This city is the 4th biggest city in the
third now.
Third now? Mm-hmm. It beats Chicago.
Yep.
We're not second city. We're third city.
Everybody keeps moving here.
Well, the weather, except for hurricane season. When I got back here in 2014, I think I saw rain 3 times in the 7 years I was in LA, and it was like, ooh, I felt a drop. You know, the rainy season was like California, Southern California. The reason they're in a drought is because they're bereft of any kind of weather, and there was no this thing as a lightning thunderstorm. Here, everything's a thunderstorm. When it happens, it happens. Out there, it's like
big in Texas.
it's like God opened his zipper and peed all over Southern California. But that's the way it feels. Just
now I have to really think of that every time.
You know, this desert drenching,
left us with so much.
and that's it. But when I got back here in 2014, I don't know if you remember the fall of 2014 when I got back here, it rained every other minute. There wasn't a fall. It was this gray, wintry thing from the time I got here in September, and then we had that the very next year in May of 2016. My first year back, calendar year back.
We might be getting off topic.
I know, but
You're a weatherman.
we had the monsoon of Memorial Day, where I live close to the bayou. I thought I was gonna have to swim out of there. So,
okay,
yeah.
so Incredible Edible Ed on YouTube is his channel, and he's got Dad versus Lad. You have a lot of seasons too with that, right? How many seasons are you in now?
We're about to start posting our 8th season. We have 7 seasons. We are even on IMDb, because IMDb makes no distinction between a show on the internet and a show on TV. They call us a TV show.
That's great.
Thank you, IMDb.
It is a really funny show. I hope you catch it. And then what is a good website?
Have you seen any of it?
Of course, I've watched a bunch of episodes. I haven't watched it from beginning to end, but I've seen plenty of episodes.
Name my character.
Oh gosh.
Ah!
Chansey. I know Chansey. I don't remember.
Well, you know my son's character.
Chansey is her son.
Really good.
This last one was you were trying to do the college interview for him.
That was not a good thing for Chansey.
That wasn't real.
To have my character
I was interviewing the kid that was interviewing. It was really funny.
No,
you have to go catch it, though.
A shout out to Charlie Schwinger, who played the, shall we say, anal retentive child in that. Who was, I mean, if ever you saw an uptight child,
it was really good.
This kid was like, you know. And I said, no, don't give me personality. Play it down. And he did exactly. So people are saying, could this kid not act? No, the kid acted exactly the way I told him to. B flat, and he seemed so, like he was about to combust on camera. But no, it is Dad versus Lad. Incredible. Check out the IMDb. I have a personal website that tells you all about me, but basically she told you all about me because she printed my whole bio in preface to this interview. So
there is quite a bit about him on the PIP page.
On the PIP page.
There's gonna be more on.
But the real PIP is this lady. She's a real PIP, this lady.
Okay. So pipseries.com. I do have a page for each person that comes on all our guests. So you're going to be able to see this interview on there, but also you're going to see a lot more on Ed. So check his YouTube. And what is a good website for you?
Well, I have one, but I just
you don't have to.
I don't really have
use
one.
them. Okay.
I have one, but
YouTube.
I never remember the link, and it's on. If you go to my Facebook page, which is Ed Vela on Facebook, you'll see it on there. It's web something, and I never can. It's long, but it has everything, and I'm known on the website as the quill that will thrill. If you believe that.
Sounds like a movie. I like it.
Anyway.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Ingrid, thank you for letting me sit here for a year and a day. All our other stuff, 4 minutes long. This one, 97 minutes long.
Well, if anybody in the audience, watching after the fact, if you have questions for Ed, just send them in, give us an email, make a comment, and we'll see if we can get some answers
or if you're terribly bored right now, and when you wake yourself up, then say, oh, what was that I watched?
Thanks again, and thank you for coming on, Ed. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Bye, Facebook Live.
Bye-bye.